right. I don't know if I unmuted myself. Let me unvideo myself. Wow, it's not my most flattering day of preparing for class. I apologize. Okay, so I am actually streaming live to YouTube right now. I know, like I'm like Dan TDM. I don't know if I unmuted myself. Let me unvideo myself. Wow, it's not my most flattering day. All right, so I did that because folks are getting kicked out of the class. Several people are having like streaming issues, and YouTube takes up less bandwidth than Zoom, and they speak to each other. So as we are responding to these questions, let's, or if you get kicked out again, if you're not presenting, I sent out a remind link where you can just watch on YouTube. Okay, and it's working great. If you are in that YouTube link, you can also write comments in the comment chat box there, just like we do in Zoom. So if you get kicked out and you're not presenting today, you will still get credit for being here as long as you are in that YouTube box. I can still see you as present. I just can't see your faces in the camera, which I can't see right now anyway. So it's like a, all right, let's do this again, people. We got this. Let's have someone from group one just go quick. Now I feel like we can like boom, boom, boom it out. Group one, learning objective one. So Abigail, Adam, Elise, Richard, Yasmin, one of you unmute. Tell us, what's your chapter? What are your learning objectives? What's your example thesis that you would do on learning objective one? So that's Abigail, Adam, Elise, Richard, or Yasmin. No one is unmuting. I know you already reported out group one, but I would love to hear you repeat it right now for folks that have got kicked out of class. So Yasmin, Elise, Richard, Adam, anyone?
So for learning objective one, the best chapter would probably be chapter 12. And the name of that chapter is Critiquing and Listening to Speeches.
And you said you were going to talk about different kinds of listening. What were they again?
They were content-centered and action-centered, critical and defensive, different types of listening and how they affect how you analyze and evaluate an oral message.
That's perfect, group one. And I know you already told us your thesis, so I won't make you repeat it, Elise, but thanks for doing that a second time just to get us started strong. All right, we had a lot of silence coming from breakout room 2, doing learning objective 2. Let's see if they can bring it home after this 10-minute reprieve that they got. So that's Ana Crystal, Angel, Armando, Elfida. Out of the 4 of you, and I know you had Alejandra, but she is with us in spirit through YouTube. I see her logged into YouTube. Woot woot. So if you could tell me, one of you could unmute and tell me what chapter you chose, what concepts from that chapter, and what your thesis would be for an essay on learning objective 2. So don't write in the chat box. Instead, if you could actually unmute yourself and talk to us like Elise did. I'm about to like take off some points here, people. Ana Crystal, Angel, Armando, Alfida. Come on, you got this. I just have a long period of uncomfortable silence on the internet. After I gave you a half hour to think about this. It's not a trick question, but this is how you're gonna get that paper written.
We chose chapter 6.
Yes. All right, and what concepts from chapter 6 did you pick?
I just wrote down finding valid information, how to present it with the different ways in the chapter.
All right, so I would love more specificity than that, because remember, you're going to have a heading bolded and then a paragraph describing that concept and how it relates back to your learning objective. Did you all get to the stage where you crafted a thesis?
No.
It's okay to say no. I'm just waiting for an answer. Oh, they wrote the thesis right here in the chat box. So here's what they wrote for those of you watching on YouTube. In order to relay information in correct and brief manner, you must use quotation, paraphrasing, and citations. So I would add in a speech, like to that. I would say in oral presentations to relay information in a correct and brief manner. That's the only change I might maybe make to specify that's not dealing with all of academia, but is specific. Okay, so we're on to group 3. Group 1 and 2, you're killing it. I love it. Great feedback. We lost a couple people to YouTube, but remember, YouTube folks, you're always welcome to log in, smash that like button, ring that bell, and subscribe below. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do any of those things. Well, I mean, you can if you want to, but just make sure that you are writing comments as well that I can share with the class if you have feedback on this issue. We're on to group 3, or learning objective 3, which is further than we got before. Remember, that is evaluating context of attitudes, values, and responses for different audiences. And our speakers were Diana, Gerardo, Giselle, or Kayla. What do you have? So one of you needs to unmute. I feel like maybe everyone talked. I have this fantasy that everybody was like in their breakout room saying like, I think on page 78, there's a wonderful discussion and analysis of audiences and the kind of predictors we should consider. But then you never got to the point in that mature, very detailed to who was actually going to talk to the professor. But out of the 4 of you, one of you's got to be the one of y'all's has got to be the talker. Diana, Gerardo, Giselle, or Kayla, one of you needs to talk. So unmute and talk to us. Poor people on YouTube are like, wow, there's long and comfortable silence. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, oh, that's right. Gerardo had already. Gerardo, I wasn't sure from the, so the actual learning objective is what you posted for the answer to question number 1. I think in response to question number 1, I was asking if you have a really long learning objective, which I think 2 and 3 fall into that category, what aspect of it are you going to focus? So let me say this. I think for learning objective 3, you could focus on responses of different audiences, and you could make your 3 concepts, which are discussed in chapter 3, context, attitudes, and values. All 3 of those, context, attitudes, and values, are discussed major concepts in chapter 3. So I think that would be a smart way to frame it, but you don't have to do it that way. Because as you can see, they found a combination of chapter 3 and chapter 13, which is okay. And then their thesis was being a good public speaker includes knowing how to evaluate context, attitudes, values, and responses of different audiences. I like it. It's perfect. I think focusing really in on the value thing, especially when it comes to persuasive speaking, will make it a good paper. But that's a straightforward thesis that, like the previous ones I was saying, it would be great to include public speaking or presentation. They did that for this one. All right. Last group, our biggest group. I better have someone talking from group 4 because there are 6 all y'alls. So one of the 6 has got to be talking to me. All right. So Ethan, Fatima, Giovanna, Carla, Elizabeth, Sebastian, one of you tell me about your learning objective number 4, which is to identify and apply different styles of presentation, utilizing effective delivery techniques and presentation aids. What do you got for me?
We said that chapter 10 making and using presentation aids would be best for number 4.
Okay. And I want to be clear, if you're going to do this chapter 10 and making presentation aids, I will also allow you to use the Death by PowerPoint video, the Ted Rennick's talk for that one if you prefer, because I made that required consumption and guidelines as part of the rubrics for the class. So if anyone decides to write their paper on number 4, what are some concepts from that chapter that y'all might refer to?
We might refer to that you need to know when to use your presentational aid and how it might target your audience, and
Okay.
and the way that the role of a presentation and what it can do for your speech.
I think that's really smart. I think, you know, as far as like the part of that learning objective to focus on, I think that focusing on the presentation aids is smart. Like that's what I would have done if it were me. Okay. Now that I've gone over both the guidelines for the essay and also how you put together your ideas, I would like for 3 separate people, and it can be in the chat box, both on YouTube or in Zoom. But the YouTube people have a little bit of a lag. So I need those of you who are logged into Zoom to ask questions first. You can unmute, you can video chat, or you can write in the chat box. 3 different people, 3 questions, and then we'll move on. All right, so the lag for YouTube is caught up, which means they heard my proposal as well. I'm waiting. Y'all are making me feel like super awkward. I talked for a really long time and now people are like, we don't want to talk to her. We're just going to turn it on and listen while we record TikToks. I swear, if any of you are making TikTok videos right now while I'm trying to teach you about your final paper, there is a special place in the underbelly of the afterlife for that. It's just like, oops. I'm just kidding. I hope you're not making a TikTok. Okay. Oh, he didn't record when he's watching them. Oh, forgive me. If I could just draw your attention here just for one more minute. Y'all can't be like, she didn't tell us what to do for this final paper. Oh, okay. No, that's really a question. He said, do you want us to cite the textbook or just give a general overview like you just did? You have to explain each of the terms you have to pick 3 terms from your chapter and you have to explain them. So if you're going to do MLA, which several of you asked if you could do MLA and I'm cool with it, make sure you put the last name of the author, comma, what page number you found that idea on, and that counts as a citation. It's not like doing a speech where you have to write this really like, according to this person with these credentials, kind of parenthetical citation. If you look at the example papers, it shows how to do that, but at least 3 times, you have to refer to the textbook in your 2-page paper. So you have to cite the textbook 3 times, 1 time for each concept. If you want to do it multiple times, you can do more than 3, but 3 is the minimum. Good question, Abigail. All right, 2 more questions. Let me check them with my YouTube folk. No questions. No questions from my YouTube people. Say something, YouTube people, so I know you are not on TikTok like Angel. See, nobody laughs at my jokes either. I think I'm joking. I'm gonna like, okay. At least Angel's engaging with me. No one else cares, but at least he's paying attention. Thank you, Angel. You got me. All right, Fatima sent us question number 2. The group you assigned us in is what our paper will be about, or could you still choose a different one? You can absolutely choose a different one, which is why I reported all of them out. And this will be recorded on YouTube, what we just reported about. Afterwards, the same link I sent you on Remind, that has everything we just discussed. So if you're like, you know what, I liked what they were talking about with chapter 10 and the visual aids and like how to make PowerPoints better, then do learning objective 4 and talk about Death by PowerPoint and chapter 10. Like that's okay. You can still swap. You're not stuck to it. All right, I just need one more question. The 2 people on YouTube are not asking questions. I'm chalking that up to the fact that they are using phones, and writing comments on YouTube while using a phone is too challenging today. which I know is a load of crap because people troll on YouTube all the time, but I'm gonna stick with that. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. We need one more question though. You can unmute yourself or you can text me in the chat box. Y'all are stressing me out with the lack of feedback. Look at my stress circles. Oh, ooh, I'm gonna have to like start duct taping my face back. So I don't look so tired. Oh, or it's not, I don't know, they use some kind of tape. Still no questions. I'm waiting. All right, everybody's unmuted. I can hear all of your voices and background noises. Somebody ask me a question. Diana's like, mute. I don't know what she's doing. Y'all are cheaters, man. I can't even force participation.
Professor, I have a question, but it doesn't have to be the essay. It's about
That's okay. We'll still count it as our third question, as long as this is not Fatima or who is this?
Elise.
Or Abigail. Oh, Elise, third person. Yes, Elise. Although Elise is talking twice. There are 23 of you, and poor Elise is talking twice. Shame on you. What was your question, Elise? How can I help you?
In the chat, you mentioned that the total points for the semester is going to be 500, but
yeah,
on Canvas it says it's out of 465.
Well, right, it should, because it's not. It's a long answer. It's out of 465 because you already turned in your final paper, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the only thing it's missing for you is the final speech, which is worth 35 points.
Oh, okay.
Once I input that you completed that, that'll move you up to 500. That's the only thing you're missing. It's a good question.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, most people, they will say it's out of 360 or 365 points because they haven't done their final paper or the final speech. And if it says it's out of 265 points, that's because you haven't done your persuasive speech or your final paper or your final speech. That's why. All right, any last questions? They can come to me over text. They can come to me over YouTube. It's so funny to click over and watch myself 10 seconds later on YouTube, because I look around a lot. I'm like, whoa, I really should look at the camera. I look like a tweaker. So I had another good question. Someone's having trouble, and this is, a good point. Someone was having trouble getting the chat box to work, and so they sent me a text message. I love text messages. Do that. It dinged, and I went straight over to it. Although you can really see my roots very long when I look down at the text on the videos on YouTube. You can go back and watch my bad roots later. My grandmother is trying to, okay. Story time, and then I shall answer the question about that someone texted me. My grandmother's hair was really overgrown, and she's grieving from the loss of my grandfather. So my mom was like, hey, why don't you just let me use grandpa's clippers and I'll cut your hair? My grandma was like, that's cool, but you don't mess with my bangs. Like, my grandma's like she turns into a chola when it comes to her bangs. Like, nobody touches her bangs. But I swear to God, my mom like balded my grandma. She has like the cute front and hair in the front, like the swoop hair in the front, but it's like a zero everywhere else. And there was like little nicks where she missed pieces. And then my grandma keeps like pulling, like trying to make it grow faster, but it won't, because my mom shaved it all. So I told my grandma for the funeral that I'll get her a big hat, because she's very, very stressed about it. It's very, but now she's like hating on my hair because my roots are all grown out because of Corona. I haven't been able to go to my hair lady in like 8 weeks. And so she's like, I'm just going to cut it off while you're sleeping, which I've been sleeping at her house. So I'm so paranoid every single time I hear something and I like, oh, don't cut my hair. Don't cut my hair. I like keep waking up and freaking out. Like, I don't think she would do that, but I don't know. I couldn't be mad at her. So maybe she would, I don't know. I got a good question, which was, will you still help us with this paper? I have 2 responses to that. The first is, if you send me this paper soon, I will grade it as though it were like for realsies, and I will send you feedback back. I've been doing that with students back and forth every week. I just come back to it and I grade them again, and then you can resubmit it. I mean, you still have time. But if you email me like the night before and ask me to look at it at like 9 o'clock at night, I'm probably not going to help you. But the other thing is, I'm still giving 5 points extra credit And you can do it more than once. I have a student in my Friday class that's done it 3 times to make appointments at the Writing Center. And you just email bcwritingcenter@gmail.com. That's it. bcwritingcenter@gmail.com. 2 people from this class have done it. But I have a student in my Friday class. She's gotten an appointment every week, like in a row. And so if you work on your paper with them, I will give you 5 extra credit points. So those are like, you can get help from me, but you can also get help from the Writing Center. Oh my gosh. Oh no, that was haha. You guys are laughing at me getting my, okay, so someone turned in their workbook chapters through email. And also there's a wrong score. Oh, I love this. I love when you guys advocate for your grades. This is really easy. Before we move into speeches, I'm not sharing my screen, so I'm just gonna go ahead and fix these people's grades that are asking about it right now. It is your responsibility to check your grades. So if you see something that's a little bit off, oh, how do I contact the Writing Center? To contact the Writing Center, I love these questions, bcwritingcenter@gmail.com. You just email them at bcwritingcenter@gmail.com. And they'll ask you for some information. They'll say like, what class are you in? What assignment do you need help with? So you can put that in your initial message, or you can, but they only have appointments through next Thursday. So you could get an appointment this week. I know they still had some openings tomorrow and Friday, but then next week is their last week that they're open. You can still get this extra credit. So, you know, see if you can do both. And then I was going in. All right, so the next thing we're gonna move into, getting extra credit for one item. Yes, I will do that too while I'm opening the stuff up. We're gonna move into the 5 speeches that we have left today. And then I'm gonna spend the last 10 minutes of class talking about our final speech that we have to do, which is very low stress, 35 points. I also sent my chapters a lot, but I wondered if it was, okay. So I had a couple students like tell me, oh crap, I just submitted my first chapter's worth of like this, or I texted it to you or whatever. I wanna be clear, like, I've been so chill with your class. Like I graded a bunch of stuff while you guys were in your group, and I was just like, this, he answered this answer right, he answered this answer right, that's what I was looking for. Great, gave you full credit. I had someone who turned in their first week of chapters 3 days ago. I think I took off 2 points or 3 points. So I'll still give you most of the points as long as you get it into me soon. And if you can send it to me over Canvas, it just makes my life so much easier. I'm not saying I won't take it any other way, but let's see here. Who is that? So people are sending me private messages in the screen right now, and I'm just fixing a couple of grades in real time while I have you here asking the questions. Let me just do that real quick. Okay. Oh, it's Martinez. What is the date? Let's see here. What was the date last week? The 22nd? Okay, got that. All right. So I think everyone who messaged me privately, I fixed all of your grades. And now we're going to move into the portion of the class where we get through these last speeches. So if you get kicked off, don't stress about jumping back into Zoom. You can always just follow the link I texted you and watch on YouTube, but please make sure to make 2 comments. One, about their slides. And if you could do that in real time, don't wait till the end of the speech, but like when a slide comes up that you like, tell us what you like about it. And if you're on YouTube especially, because this will appear at the same time as when the slide appears, is the first thing. And the second one is I want you to make a comment on their research, and you can combine both of those, their verbal citation and their slide notes, but those are the 2 that I'm looking for. So our first speaker is Carla, and I'm gonna share the screen for her. And I need a timer today. Is there, I mean, Richard is a really good timer, but I wanna make sure there's no one else that wants to do it before I keep giving Richard extra credit. He's my go-to. John, can you let Nathan know that Tony's on Fortnite right now? Sorry. I thought one of you guys was sending me a question. So when my kid doesn't have a cell phone, so his friends text me and they're like, "Can you tell Nathan to get on Fortnite?" Okay, let's see here. All right, I need to mute everybody again except for Carla. Is everyone muted? So let's mute everyone except for Carla. I still don't have I don't have a timer for this. Do I have anyone willing to be my timer? You want me to do it?
I'll do it.
Okay, Richard, that would be awesome.
Do I shout it out loud like last time?
Yeah, just do it. You have 2 minutes left. You have 1 minute left. That's time. That's fine. I think everyone was really good with their time last time. Just keep them posted if they need, you know.
Okay,
John, were you
so
shopping for iPhones? Oh, I think our daughter was shopping. All right, guys. Are you ready, Carla?
yes.
Awesome. Whenever you're ready, just say next when you need to click to the next slide, okay? So I'm opening the other computer so I can also take notes while you're
Okay.
speaking. Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Who would have thought that filling out a 10-minute survey would make so much change in a community? Or even better, who would have thought that sharing so much personal information would help our own children's futures in education or health? Probably not many of you. Hello, my name is Carla Garza, and I'm going to share why the US Census is so much more important than we think it is. Next. So what even is the census? The census is an important survey by the federal government that collects data from all households in the country. It's used to evaluate and measure the needs of every single individual in our community. They perform the survey every 10 years nationwide, and this year in 2020, they're going to collect all the data from every household once again. But sometimes collecting this data could be a struggle. Next. In the previous decades, the only way to fill up the census survey was by census employees or volunteers physically visiting every house in the country and verbally asking you the survey questions outside your door. Back in 2010, my mom received an email offering her to be part of the census as an employee. She wasn't sure what that was, and she's never even heard about it before. But after doing some research, she decided to sign up for it. Employees had to get some basic but essential training in order to interview the people. My mom's concerns were when she had to go later in the afternoon, or when she had to visit houses all the way up in the empty fields where it looks as if no one was even living. Some days were more of a struggle than others though. Some people didn't want to open the door, some people were screaming at her from the inside of their homes, and she even had to encounter a dog once. She was able to do it with having the satisfaction at the end that she was actually a pretty important tool in making every person be counted. It's important that everyone fills out the survey and gets counted because if, say, I were to get counted in the 2020 census, I'd be collaborating with my city to get more federal funds to fix our roads and improve our schools, hospitals, and federal food programs, along with a few more things. Next. According to their official website, the Census Bureau's mission is to serve as the nation's leading provider of quality data about its people and economy. We need to get accurate counts of the population. The census wants to provide the most accurate data about how many people are in our country. We could help them get this by participating in completing the survey either online, by phone, or by mail. But why would we even want to help them in the first place? And why is this so important? Next. Have you guys been down Franklin Street here in Arbin? It's a street that's like next to or like around Sarah Vista Elementary School. Or how about the roads down Heaven Drive? In case you haven't seen them, here's some pictures. Franklin Street is on the left and Heaven Drive is on the right. As you can see, these roads and many more around Kern County are in a pretty bad condition, to the point where it becomes a safety hazard. A relative of mine even had to buy a new rim for their car because they accidentally drove over and into one of these pits. Obviously, the damage in these streets have to be fixed as soon as possible. Besides roads, there's also plenty of schools that have their own needs that have to be fixed and improved. Schools need more resources for students with, for example, students with special needs or library material, better teachers, and personnel that work around the school. There's also different hospitals, clinics, and food assistance programs around Kern County and around the US that are in need of improvements. Next. The cities around Kern County can get money from the government to go towards these different funds, but they won't get enough if we don't get an accurate count of everyone in our community. The government will only give us a certain amount of money based on the population that we have. That's why the census is important. As it says on their official website, they want to get the most accurate count of people in the US so that they can come up with the right amount of funds and the right type of services to give back to us. Our whole country is actually affected by the number. Not only the larger cities or states, but even the smaller and more remote towns similar to like where we live. If everyone does their part in participating in the census, we can get a lot more roads looking like this one here. Next. Completing this census survey is not only helping ourselves as individuals, but our community as a whole. The census isn't getting an accurate count mainly because many people are scared of it. Jessica Stanford, a writer for The Conversation US, shared that people don't fill it out either because some have recently moved, some live in remote areas, some don't get a good internet connection or don't have electronic devices, there's privacy concerns, or because of their race or ethnic minority. This chart shows a survey that was taken on how concerned people of different races would be that their information would be used against them in this year's census. We could see that over a third of Asian and Black Americans are extremely concerned and very concerned, and the white responders were the least concerned. The truth is, though, that sharing this personal information with the Census Bureau won't be shared with any other agencies. So we shouldn't have to worry about any information that we put on the survey being shared or used against us. Next.
4 minutes.
The Washington Post mentioned that a professor at Duke University named D. Sunshine Hilligus used the Census Bureau's research from 2010 to predict that from 5 to 12% of non-citizens and Latin households probably won't fill out the census for the bare fact that one of the questions will ask if you're a US citizen. Their main concern of these people is being deported. And this is reasonable. Some of us could possibly even relate to it. Because of this, the professor recommended that the citizenship question be taken off for the 2020 and the following decades. The Census Bureau themselves, along with many other cities and states, also agree. So when it was taken to court to remove that question from the official census survey, the case was easily beat and taken into action. So this year they won't have that question on there. After all, the census's main goal is partially just to find an accurate population. Next.
3 minutes.
Believe it or not, it's actually a law to have to take the census, but because there haven't actually been any punishments for not taking it, many people choose not to. You guys can make the largest impact yourselves by making sure that your parents have taken it and by then spreading the word, asking family members or friends if they filled it out. Even one person that isn't counted in the census is too many. We have to have consciousness of the importance of the survey and the work this organization is doing in order to be as accurate as possible. There are 3 different ways to participate in the census this year. Well, according to the Data Center Research Organization, you can either fill it out by mail, online, or phone. Chances are that this year, no census workers will knock on your door, like the previous decades due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The questionnaire will apply to everyone in your household as of April 1st of this year. Next.
2 minutes.
Every household has already received a hard copy questionnaire in the mail that you can return in the paid posted envelope that's already provided with the organization. The questionnaire this year is going to look like this one here. Well, like 1 page for each person in your house. Next. If you like, you could also go to this link named my2020census.gov, or you could call if you'd rather someone ask you the questions through the phone. Next. They have 12 different lines based on what language your parents or guardian or whoever will be filling it out speak, but I'm only going to name the English and Spanish lines. If your parents or guardian prefer English, they should call 1-844-330-2020. And if you prefer Spanish, they should call 1-844-468-2020. Next.
Hold on, I'm taking a picture of the numbers. Okay, now I'm clicking through, sorry.
It takes about 10 minutes to complete, regardless of what method you decide to use at the end. In the questionnaire, it'll ask for the name, age, sex, date of birth, ethnicity or race, and relationship of everyone living in our household, as well as if you rent or own your home. Next. With that being said, we understood that our city and community needs improvements in different areas. We're a very important part of making that change, not only by filling out the survey, but by knowing and understanding that it's a safe way to do it. The census will help our communities get the funds they need to make a better place for our children, elders, and general community in the near future. Let's be a part of it, and let's be proud of our role in taking the survey. Next. As you can see, here's a number and link once again for the Census Bureau, where you can call or connect to complete the survey. If you like, you could screenshot this page as a reminder. How I challenge you today to go up to your parents and family sometime today and ask them if they filled out the census. And if they haven't, this will be our opportunity to share with them the importance of this historical event. Next. Here are my citations, and this concludes my presentation. Thank you.
So remember our ASL clapping or our reactions. Good, and some of us are getting your comments in now. I hope those that are also on YouTube are getting their comments in on the sides. I'm going to check on them real quick. Oops, it's our participant page. I need to see our YouTube page. Okay, so I don't see, oh, but I see Adam making his things when I'm in YouTube. Okay, so for Richard's clapping too. For the two of you, I know Alejandra, you're one of them. I don't know who the other person got kicked out and is watching is, but if the two of you could make sure on the right-hand comment section, there's also a emoji box where you can send smiles or clapping. So you can clap there. And you can also, for any of you who get kicked out, you can also write comments just like you did in the other one, and that will be worth things as well. So I just clapped in our virtual space. All right, we're on to our next speaker. Make sure you put your 2 comments there. Giovanna's going to be our next speaker. Please share the screen. Oh, I need to hold on. Let me give you permission to share the screen. Okay, whenever you're ready, you're able to share the screen. Giovanna.
Okay.
Is it appearing for you, that green box with the arrow pointing up?
Yeah.
Richard, did Carla make her time requirement? So after Giovanna, it's going to be Ethan and Zahira. Whenever you are ready. So Giovanna, as soon as you start talking, Richard will start the time.
Okay. My house might be a little noisy because my nephew likes to come into my room no matter what. So I'm sorry if he disrupts a little bit.
No, we totally understand. Honestly, I'm so grateful we're all in lockdown though, because normally like people are like knocking on doors and opening and closing doors in my neighborhood and my dog barks, but like nobody goes anywhere. So my dog doesn't bark anymore.
Sorry, I'm trying to find my phone because I like to time myself.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. We can wait a second.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Okay. And Okay. And innocent, loving, defenseless. A cage. No room, afraid. Chained to the same kennel, nowhere to walk, or at least run. Bleeding from the flesh wound that was just given. Hearing the rumbling from their starving stomachs. Throats just as dry as the dirt that their kennel sits on. That is what an animal feels. My name is Giovanna, and I'm gonna be going over animal cruelty. Have you ever seen a dog chained to a tree, dead on the side of the road, walking the streets where their bones are visible due to starvation? Because I have seen heartbreaking situations. I used to attend ROC last year, where I landed an internship at ROC. Explain the stories. I'm gonna explain stories that I have seen. One story is this dog. As you guys can see, he came in.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
Sorry, so some pictures are pretty graphic. This dog came in, and as you can see, if you look closely, there's a chain inside of his neck. And I guess the owner left him chained up to his tree for a very long time and never really let him out off the tree. And the chain started to grow inside his neck, so the meat started to think, like his skin started to think that the chain was part of himself, so the meat started to go around the chain. So in this picture, the RVT, which is a registered veterinarian technician, was shaving off his hair so she can see a better picture on what to do. And there was like no possible way of trying to get out the chain, so they brought out like some type of like little like machine, I guess, to try to chop off the chain. But in the end of the process, the dog just ended up getting euthanized because it would have just been too painful for him to go through. And the chain was too straight into his neck that it would have hit something either way if they went in or not. And this next picture is a kitten that somebody had brought in that has been sitting outside. They said that had been sitting outside its porch. And as you can see, there's maggots all over inside its mouth since it had a big wound. And there's maggots eating away inside of its mouth, which he has no lower jaw anymore. It's just the inside of its mouth already. What is animal cruelty? Animal cruelty is an act of harm towards an animal, whether it is neglect or actual physical abuse. And here in this picture, as we can see, this was neglect, as in the owner did not remove the dog from the tree as he should have. And this one was the kitten was sitting on the porch, had a wound that the owner never took care of, so it ended up becoming something way worse. According to the article, what is animal cruelty and what can we do to stop it? States, every 60 seconds, an animal gets abused. And here are the signs of animal abuse and neglect, according to how to spot animal abuse and how can you help. Open wounds, any physical injuries that are not being treated, poor skin conditions, patches of hair loss, extremely matted fur, scaly skin, rashes, bumps, ribs that are visible or bones being visible, limping, difficulty walking, chained to a tree or a pole. No food, no water visible, left outside in an unbearable wet weather. Animal cruelty is serious and it happens all over the world, and not many people are informed on it. But yet SPCA has been around since 1824 and has tried helping animals all over the world. Many people are not informed on the facts of what happens in animal cruelty and are not sure what to do or how to stop it. These are more pictures of signs of animal cruelty. As you can see, the dog here who is extremely starved, who has not ate, one of the dogs being chained, a kitten who has infection in its eyes, and a dog who is lethargic. What is SPCA? What does SPCA stand for? SPCA is an organization that helps save animals from horrible environments as well as abuse. SPCA is to help prevent abuse animals towards any animal. SPA stands for Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. How can you help? The way you can help is you can adopt, and you can also help with the dog meat trade. The dog meat trade is that it has come to many people's concern, especially SPCA, that many countries have started consuming dogs. So SPCA has started an organization to stop this. And there's also dog fighting. You can also help because individuals have purchased dogs just to put them into little arenas or kennels to fight other dogs, and this causes dogs to get severely injured or to even become mentally abused. According to SPCA, international embraces above all kindness, respect, compassion, awareness, and integrity in all aspects of our mission and vision
4 minutes.
in a cruelty-free world. So SPCA has been working all over the world to save animals and shelters. SPCA has been around for a long time, and their goal has always been to help animals and keep them from being harmed. Over this time, due to COVID-19, SPCA has been going around the world trying to help the shelters to stay up and keep up. Our article, "What is animal cruelty and what can we do to stop it?" states, the problem is that there are not enough people fighting for animal rights. If everyone started to look at animals and not just dogs and cats as fellow animals who share our planet, we would see far few cases of cruelty towards animals. This is SPCA's phone number, address, and Instagrams. I'm gonna give you guys a few seconds to actually write this down if you guys can. And this is my dog that I adopted when he was a puppy, and now he's almost 2 years old. Any questions?
How are we doing on time, Richard?
Any questions?
7 minutes and 47 seconds.
All right, so why don't you tell us, go back one slide, tell us a little bit about your dog so that you don't make it under in time. Like you said, this is my dog, but you didn't tell us his name, his gender, his age, his likes, dislikes.
So this is my dog Kovu. I adopted him almost 2 years ago. He is a German mix. He is a male, a neutered male. He loves to go on runs. He loves to dig holes and rip my mom's plants. He hates swimming in the swimming pool. He hates bath. He hates to bathe. He loves to fetch. He loves to sleep.
What would you clearly say was your one call to action for this speech? Like if you had to put it in words, what's your call to action for this speech?
My call to action is for people to open their eyes and notice that animal cruelty happens all over the world, and that we need to put a stop to it. And by starting that, we should all learn by it. That's why I put the SPCA information, so we can get more information from it and we can learn more from it.
How are we doing on time, Richard?
We're good.
Awesome. All right. So press stop. There you go. Perfect. Good job. Now, everyone, don't forget to do your reactions. Give her some feedback for what a great job she did. That includes my Facebook people as well. Make sure to give comments. And again, you don't have to wait till the end to chat the comments. You can give comments during both on YouTube and in the speech here, our next speaker, Adam's doing his, I'll do mine too. So our next speakers are, we're at, just got a couple more. Ethan, Zahira, and Alfida is who we've left. So Ethan, you're up next. Share your screen, please. Did Ethan get kicked out? Let's double check, make sure he's here. We don't want to be here past 6 o'clock, guys, so make sure that you're, no, oh, Ethan, you're here. Ethan, you're next. Ethan, we're waiting on you. Hello, Ethan. Did you already do your speech? Do I have you misplaced? I'm pretty sure you're supposed to go today. I'm not getting a message or a text, but I see you on the screen. Ethan, share your slides. Do you need me to share your slides for you? Because you haven't communicated that over the last 2.5 hours. All right, if you don't give your speech, you fail the class. I let people wait from last week go to this week. Let's move on. Zahira, are you ready to present? Are you here? Let me check. I don't see Zahira logged in.
Oh, she's not here. She had some kind of family emergency.
Oh no, okay, I didn't hear from her. That's not good. All right, we will all send our positive energy out into the universe for Zahira. What about Alvida? You are here. I see you. No hiding. Oh wait, I did see you. Where'd you go?
Here.
Oh, there you are. I'm like, I knew you were here. Do you need me to share your slides or are you able to do it?
I'm able to.
I love the positive energy noises. That's wonderful. Positive energy noises, Zahira. And then we'll have to share this YouTube link with her as well so that she can hear what she missed about the final paper and know what we're going to do for our final speech. All right, so if Ethan's not going to present, Zahira or Olivia, you might be our last speaker for the day. Whenever you are ready, dear. Althea, are you able to share the screen or do you need help?
I think I got it. Hold on.
Okay, just making sure. Ooh, and I can see your outline. It looks so good. Yay. Sorry. I get excited.
So that means you did receive it, right?
I did get your outline.
All right, good.
See all of it right now as I'm grading you. And let me, before we move on to your slides, give me 20 seconds. I want to check on our YouTube people. Oh, it looks great on YouTube. I'm still waiting for our YouTube people to start participating in the comment section. Right now, I'm the only one commenting, but that's okay. All right, whenever you are ready, go ahead and get started.
Margaret Mead once said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." People tend to convince today's youth and teenagers that they're too young to make a change. However, this is false. My name is Elfida Mas, and today I will be persuading you all to indulge in social change. You must have heard millions of times how young people have the power to change the world. Most of you probably regarded this only as a saying and never dwelled deeper to check whether the youth really holds that much power. As young individuals, we have lots of power at our fingertips. Unfortunately, we fail to put this power to use that can positively impact many of today's society's problems. The problem is that today's youth and generation fails to realize how much of an influence we, united, can make. United as one, we may begin and indulge in social change and fight the evils of humanity. We are contributing to the problem by not making an effort to make a change. Problems like homelessness/poverty, for example, only grow exponentially. With the aid of the nonprofit organization Do Something, we can defeat society's problems like homelessness/poverty, education, mental and physical health, discrimination, social injustice, and so much more. But that was just to name a few. Who is Do Something and what do they do? As the largest nonprofit organization exclusively for young people and social change, Do Something's millions of members represent every US area code and 131 countries. Using their digital platform, Do Something members join their volunteer, social change, and civic action campaigns to make a real world impact on causes they care about, such as homelessness, poverty, bullying, racial injustice, and so much more. But those are just a few out of the many that their causes. Social change has been greatly affected by social media usage in the last few years, as people can more easily communicate, initiate social change projects, and participate in social change projects. Organizations like Do Something that have initiated social change by using social media, and this is just a statistic here on supporting social change and social media. Like right here. And like for example, 65,760 projects have been launched. 27,240 projects have also been successfully funded. $303 million have been pledged to projects. And there's a 44% success rate. Tara Tiano, a staff writer at the Chronicle of Social Change, stated that 159,911 youth younger than 25 across the country were homeless. And 36,361 of that population are on their own, meaning they're just completely surviving out there on their own. 1/3 of them were here in California. According to the 2018 annual homeless assessment from the US Department of Housing and Urban Development, California remained the state with the highest population of people who were experiencing homelessness as a whole and the highest number of unaccompanied homeless youth. The youth homelessness rate is only increasing. However, Do Something and its members are able to help these individuals by providing them with clothing. One of the many great campaigns Do Something has brought include the Teens for Jeans campaign. The Teens for Jeans campaign consisted of teenagers collecting their jeans for local youth experiencing homelessness. Do Something partnered up with Aeropostale to host the largest youth-led denim drive. Teens were encouraged to collect their jeans and bring them to their local Aeropostale store, where Aeropostale would drop them off at a local shelter for youth experiencing homelessness. On March 7th, 2020, the campaign closed. Teens across the globe were able to donate over 1 million pairs of jeans in a single year, enough to clothe of all US youth in homeless shelters. Another example of a successful campaign story of Do Something is their Power to Period campaign. Their members were able to encourage their members to collect and donate period products for people experiencing homelessness. Many of the 3.5 million Americans who experience homelessness each year have extremely limited access to period products such as pads and tampons, etc. In fact, period products are some of the most needed items in homeless shelters across the country. They collected and opened packages of period products and donated them to a local homeless shelter. Together, their efforts helped ensure that people in shelters have consistent access to supplies they need.
4 minutes.
How many? 4?
Yes.
What I want you to do is to join millions of young people in a global movement for good. Like, do something here. Become a Do Something member and start indulging in social change. I hope that after listening to my presentation, I have provoked insights that inspire and motivate all you young people to take action. I'm going to send CCB a link where you can register to become a member, and I hope she can share it. If you want further information, I suggest you guys to go onto their website, dosomething.org, or you can go onto their social media. They're on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat under the handle Do Something. And here's a 30-second video that explains on a little bit more kind of who they are on their YouTube channel. They also have a YouTube channel if you would like to check that out. So
2 minutes.
so they you can check out their website. They have many campaigns going on right now, especially with the coronavirus thing going on. They're online and offline. I think this is really good for right now, especially since we're all quarantining at home. So I suggest you like trying their campaigns. They have many different causes, like such as like the well, for the coronavirus specifically, they have different articles on what you can do for some of these different causes. For example, they have the One Team Challenge, and basically it's just 6 weeks of sports themed challenges to impact COVID-19. They also offer scholarships to those who volunteer. So I know that some of you might be interested. And yeah, you guys could check them out on their website, dosomething.org. How much time do I have left?
You're good.
Okay.
You're muted.
Okay, I'm going to give you guys a chance to write comments, and then I am going to talk about your language. Ava! We're so close. Almost there. Ava! Let me finish writing comments, and then I'll talk to y'all about that. And people on YouTube, you best be writing your comments. I'm checking on you.
Miss,
Alejandra, that means you.
Miss.
Yep.
Ethan sent a message saying it had kicked him out.
Okay, that's okay. We'll work it out next week.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me know. Did I look mad? I'm not mad. I'm not mad at you. Zahira and Ethan next week. They better be good. They're the last 2 10-minute speeches we gotta watch. So we're gonna be all, come on. Don't forget to write the check for them, John. Okay. All right. It's done. Ultimate open a Word file for everyone to see. Oh, I'm looking at YouTube. I'm like, why won't it let me share my screen there? Is 14-point font big enough for all of y'all, or should I make it a little bigger? Can you see this that I'm writing on my screen? Or let's 16 a little better? Should I go even bigger?
16's fine.
Okay, so let's talk about the 3 parts to the speech. There's an intro, a body, and a conclusion. Before I go over too much what you're going to say in that intro and that body and that conclusion, remember, this is a 3 to 5 minute speech. An outline is not required. I do need to see your face while you speak. In fact, they're changing it starting this summer. Students must show from the waist up while they present. It can't just be your face. It has to be like you have to sit far enough back that we can see you from the waist up, or you have to stand up while you present, but not for this class. I need to see your face while you speak. You can, and I'm not requiring. So images are not required, but a slideshow of images is highly encouraged. Why do I highly encourage a slideshow? Very simple slides of a couple images. If you have photographs of the incident you're describing, it can just help paint a more vivid picture. All right, so just some guidelines. It's a 3 to 5 minute speech. There is no outline, but I do need to see your face while you are presenting. So that's this. Let me go back here for a second. Control A. Try to format this a little so it's easier to see. Okay. The name of this speech is your shelter in place lesson. From this point for the rest of your life, people will ask you, what was that like? When you apply for jobs, when you apply for colleges, when you have grandkids, they're gonna ask you, did you live through the pandemic? What was it like? What do you remember? And this is a moment while we're still living it for you to think about the answer to that question. Now, last week I shared a story about the lesson I learned. Did I share that in this class? Let me look at your chat box / faces and see if anyone. Did I share a story last week? I can't remember. The example of my lesson. Let's see here. So my family loves the electric slide. And whenever the song, "We Are Family," comes on at a wedding, everyone dances. And so my quote to start my speech is, "We are family," but with the And the lesson I actually want to talk about is that I learned my immediate family is not just the 4 people who live in my house. It's been very hard to quarantine with kids because I didn't realize that my children visit their cousins like every other day. My sister works in law enforcement. If she has a bad day at work, she doesn't even have to say like, can you come over so your kids will babysit my kids? She says, can you come over for dinner? I just had a day. And I know from like sister code, that means please bring your children and have them occupy my children so that I can just exhale finally after this awful day I had. But for the last 7 weeks, my twin sister and I have not been able to break bread together. We have not been able to hug or share a meal or a drink or anything that we do on a pretty regular basis. And people, like my aunts and uncles and some other folks I know, they do the thing where they like sit across the parking lot from each other and they eat dinner and talk to each other. But for me, that's not really possible. And I want to talk about the lesson I learned about who my immediate family is by telling this story. We drove to my sister's house. The weather was still nice. It smelled like rain outside. It had been raining for 2 or 3 days, right around Easter. And we were dropping off some treats for my nieces for Easter. I have a 16-year-old niece, Angelica. I have a 5-year-old niece, Susie. And I have one niece whose name is River. And we took them all their treats and we left them on the doorstep. And then we had our whole family has custom from one of my cousins. We've custom made little masks. We have a Pikachu mask and we have like a zebra print mask. And then we have like a little piggy's mask. So we had our masks on and we all ran up there and we left it. And then it was like kind of like what do they call it? Ding dong ditch. We like banged and rang the doorbell and then ran and we sat back in the car and we waited for the girls to come out and see their treats because we thought, well, Conejo came, they're gonna be so excited. And they came out and they didn't even stop at the baskets on the doorstep. The little ones just ran straight for the car. They recognized my car and they started banging on the outside of the car and screaming, Nawa, Nathan, Nawa, Nawa, Nawa. The 1-year-old can't even say Nina, but she can say Nawa. My daughter's name is Anara. And she's banging on the car. And my brother-in-law comes running out, shirtless and scoops them up. And they're just screaming and kicking and fighting for their every bit of life that they have in them. And I look in the rearview mirror and I see my kids are just crying, just tears in the back seat. And that was the hardest day of quarantine for me, was keeping the cousins from each other. And the lesson I've learned from being in quarantine is that my immediate family is bigger than the 4 people who live in my house, that it includes the 5 people that live in my sisters. And after this, we will treasure our moments even more and keep the cousins together and never apart, because we are family. Okay, so that was my example of a time capsule, shelter in place lesson speech. I started with a quote. I gave you a lesson. I told you a story. I tied it back to that lesson. I ended with a closing line. All 3 of the steps I required, all 3 of the steps, parts that we've had for every single speech, an introduction, a body, a conclusion, were all included there. It might have been fun if I was sharing my screen to show you a picture of my 1-year-old niece, my 5-year-old niece, my 16-year-old niece, to show you a picture of my kids wearing their face masks. Like, I think that would have made my presentation even better. I don't have those like on me where I could pop them up right now. And I'm not gonna take off points for you not having that, but I think that, tracking down those pictures a year from now is gonna be harder if you wanna kind of remember what this was like. And so, do this for you, for this moment. And it doesn't, I know my story's a little sad. But you can tell an uplifting story. There are lots of stories people are experiencing about the way communities have come together, about the things they've learned, that I don't know what those lessons will be until you tell me. So for the last speech, we're doing a shelter in place lesson speech. You have to an introduction with an attention grabber. So right here, last thing, let me just finish this. We'll be done for the day. You have to have an attention grabber and a thesis in your intro. So that's the part that's highlighted in blue right there. Let me switch to pink. In the body, you have to have one detailed story right there in pink. And you saw the details that I used about, you remember what it's like when it smelled like rain outside. You remember, my shirtless brother barreling out of the door with the kids kicking. Like, those kind of details are important. Practice saying your story over and over. Make sure it's at least 2 minutes, if not a little bit longer. And then lastly, you're going to have that conclusion. And that's where you want to, again, restate your lesson, which is your thesis, and also have a clever closing line to end your speech. So those are really the 3 portions to the speech. Again, outlines, not required. You don't have to have them. An outline is not required. But things that are new are that I absolutely do need to see your face while you speak. And I would love, love, love to see some images of your story. Okay? So this is everything for our last speech. It's worth 35 points maximum. And that's all we have left. That you have your final paper and you have this final speech. We have a couple speeches to watch next week, but other than that, we're done with the semester. Great job, everyone. I am going to go ahead and end class. And if you have more questions, I want you to text me. All right? But great job, everyone. I'm super proud of you for hanging in there. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll send you messages when I have office hours again tomorrow. But you are doing great. We are getting through this, and I can't wait to hear your lessons next week.